Throughout the course of music business, we've heard numerous issues and lawsuits between artists and their managers, and the latest one coming to light is from Pat Corcoran, aka Pat the Manager, against Chance the Rapper. In it, he claims he is owed $3 million in unpaid commissions on revenue from touring, streaming, album sales, and merchandise. The lawsuit also states this. Compounding the issue, Bennett's recordings efforts were compromised by unproductive and undisciplined studio sessions, procrastination, and lackadaisical effort perpetuated by various hanger-ons uninterested in the hard work of writing and recording resulted in a freestyle-driven product of subpar quality. That's a lot of syllables in there, and with his thoughts on this, we have Sam Tall. Sam, what's the good word?
Hey, Peter. So this is an issue that's very dear to my heart as an artist manager and somebody who's been in the music industry, city universe, talking about management issues and artist-related things. Contracts, man, you gotta have contracts. Did you see that? Buried in the complaint that this was an oral agreement.
Yep.
Why?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, many managers, might do like this kind of like 1-year development contract and then roll out or something like that. Want to test the waters because you have neither party really can predict the future. And this immediately brought me back to the big Hollywood oral agreement it was Kim Basinger. It's like 1993, and she orally agreed to star in the movie called Boxing Helena. About a month prior to the start of the film shooting, she backed out. So she got sued for $8.1 million. And, I pulled this up. So the jury's basically they said, well, you backed out. And the Hollywood was known for here, just write it on a napkin and go. Yeah. This changed everything. And to go back, it was I pulled up the notes here because I wanted to, really get this right. It was the jury. It actually is cases in law review books now. Okay, so the jury's initial decision caused a hiatus in Hollywood, as it has long been practiced for stars, agents, and studios to seal agreements by handshake, by mobile phone, limo to limo fax, or by signatures on napkins over lunch. It also prompted Ms. Basinger, star of Batman and the Clay, et cetera, to file for bankruptcy and draw up plans to sell her house, artwork, and belongings. Okay, so they sued her for $8.1 million. They awarded that. Her net worth was $3.3 million at the time. Afterwards, they renegotiated. They knocked it down to 3.8 million, and it was years later down the road they settled for an undisclosed amount. But that right there changed Hollywood oral agreements.
Yeah, well, I remember when I was in high school, my family moved to Texas, and I remember one of the things that I learned moving to Texas was that a handshake is legally binding. It's sort of a state driven by honor code, and apparently that's not unique to Texas. It's actual law as well that a handshake agreement, an oral agreement, does bind. I think the thing that's really frustrating is that Pat and Chance have worked together long enough and in a high profile enough manner and in enough business that they should know better. Personally, I've been through a couple instances where I've either been on an oral agreement or a pretty lax contract that wasn't necessarily what a lawyer would consider best in class. And I've learned that lesson personally. I've been cut out of deals. I've been nudged out of teams. I've, been axed on the first day of possible termination after the contract fulfills its initial term. There are all kinds of things that even with a contract that you're not safe with, but you're ever less safe if you just kind of leave it to the oral or handshake side. I mean, emails help, precedents help. I mean, I'm sure Chance was paying Pat X percent, was it 15% throughout the duration of their working together, and that's going to inform some of the how the suit proceeds. That's going to tell the court, like, okay, you were paying him 15%. You know you had to pay him 15% on these sort of things that you've paid him in the past. And then of course, the Chance the Rapper side response is, well, Pat's been paid everything he's legally obligated to be paid, which, of course, without a contract, how much are you actually legally obligated to be paid? It's sort of a dubious question. It's sort of a loose consideration. I'm sure they're going to do some funky math, and especially with, like, apparently not only was it an oral agreement, but it's on net receipts. It's a profit share deal as opposed to a gross commission, which is the kind of thing you do when you're trying to convince somebody that you should be part of their team and you really want them to take a chance on you, and so you cut them that deal. Well, I've done that too. Mostly with, like, artists and, like, people want to invest in their stuff, and we're not too keen on, cutting them out some kind of dividend or some kind of royalty. So we work into a profit share thing. And of course, artists are unprofitable until they're superstars. So there's a lot of things that you can allocate as expenses and then get away from having to consider profits. And so if it's 15% of profits and there's no profits, well, there you go. Pat's not due very much. He's due whatever $350,000, not $3 million. Chances are, no pun intended, chances are that this is going to settle out of court. It's not going to be $3 million. It's going to be something less than that, maybe north of 350, maybe an additional 350 on top of what he was already offered. We'll see. But this is just such a shame. I mean, there's just, like, the music industry is littered with scenarios like this. It's just such a shame that it happened with a duo that was so vaunted as sort of these young guns and leaders of the vanguard of independent artists. I wish it could be handled differently, but this is what happens when money gets big and people's posses get too big. And, there's a lot of reasons that nobody's ever going to know, in addition to all the ones that we do know. But I'm interested to see how this plays out. We'll see if it actually creates any new precedent, in court, if it ever goes that way. My guess is that it won't make it that far.